What's going on, everyone? This is Cadman Cycling. Welcome in. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good day. Back racing in London. So this is stage one of Race Like a Pro series. This is the December racing series. This one's sponsored by Team INEOS. Takes us on the London Loop Reverse. It's about 14.6 kilometers with 200 meters of elevation. The race actually isn't the full loop. It cuts off about half a kilometer and about 30 meters of elevation. So a little bit shorter than the full loop, but still get to do Fox Hill going up, and then we'll come down Box Hill and see what we can do. So quite a bit of climbing. This is a Category C race. Looks like we started with 49 riders. Right now just putting in the early dig, trying to get settled in the front group. Seems like a pretty fun December racing series, this Race Like a Pro series. So Stage 1, London Loop Reverse with Team INEOS. Then it goes on to Richmond with Jumbo-Visma, then RGV with Team Bike Exchange, and then ends December with Three Little Sisters, Team Movistar. So no unlocks, unfortunately, as we're going down the underground, just making our way over to the climb. No unlocks, unfortunately. We get to wear these pro jerseys just for the race, but they get to keep them the rest of the time. I guess that's fair, not really being a pro racer, but get to wear it today. So here we are, front group. Looks like a huge front group. We got one or two guys who went early off the front, really just trying to put in a dig before the climb. The climb does come up pretty early on this course. I think it's around the 2K mark and then takes us to just over the 5K mark. So most of the elevation gain comes pretty early in the climb. It's definitely going to split apart this big front group. So feeling good so far. Still very early, but I was actually away the last few days, so didn't get a chance to jump on the bike. But that does mean I have fresh legs today, which means I'm going to lean on them as much as I can, especially going up this climb. So we're just getting to the start of the elevation. We also have everyday Zwifter riding here today. Always fun to see him in a race. Always good to see any names I know. It makes this racing a lot more fun. But here we go, starting the elevation. One person off the front early. I really want to make sure I keep this sustained. I know we're climbing for the next 3 kilometers, so no reason to be putting out 500 watts early. But the group starts moving pretty quickly, so we're over 300 early. Again, this isn't going to be sustainable for 3 kilometers, but want to put in some early effort just to make sure that I stick with this front group while I can, and then see where it puts me. Heart rate is rising pretty quickly. It'll get above 180, eventually above 190 as we get further into this climb, I'm sure. But really, really spread out. So in Category C, you don't really expect to see a lot of people being able to hold 4 watts per kg on the front. So if I'm putting out 300 watts here and there's other guys off the front, I know that they won't be able to sustain that. So eventually a lot of it does come back together. Went ahead and skipped forward. So 4K mark, getting towards the end of this climb. So heart rate's high. I've actually been keeping the RPMs pretty high this entire climb. Legs have felt really good, felt really rested. So I've been happy so far with how it's going. We do have 2 riders off the front. One's 22 seconds ahead, the other 17 seconds, but this is still really the front group, minus those 2 in front of us. So feeling good. Heart rate's high, but honestly felt manageable. 188, but it really felt like it was maybe 10 beats per minute lower, so I wasn't struggling too much. I was keeping the RPMs high just because the heart was feeling good, so I wanted to save as much in the legs as possible. Already kind of thinking forward to a sprint finish if I got there, or if I needed to lower the cadence once we got more towards the top of the climb. So far so good. This front pack has really, really become a lot smaller throughout the course of this hill. So we'll go ahead and skip forward, a little less than a kilometer forward, but we're getting to the top of the hill. So starting to kind of form the pack as we zoom out here, get to see how far we climbed, going through the banner. And yeah, there's maybe 10 of us here. There's still a couple riders off the front, but I'm feeling really good, and I'm really looking forward to the next few minutes I have of super tucking. So Made it to the top of Fox Hill. That means we get to go down Box Hill, reverse direction. So it's pretty steep. We'll be going pretty fast, which means I'll be able to stop pedaling for quite a bit. It's flat now, but we'll hit that downhill pretty quickly. And I'm looking at the elevation gain at the top. So we're at 152 meters. So I know we're not completely done with the climbing. We have 8.9K left. Still at least another 50 meters of climbing. So not completely over, but I'll have a chance to recover on this downhill. So another reason I kind of increased the cadence on the way up was save the legs. But also I wasn't too worried about the heart rate getting crazy high because I knew I'd have time to rest on the downhill. So we were floating around 190. If I kept that for the rest of the race, I would have eventually bonked. I would have hit a point where I just couldn't hold it. But this downhill really gives me a chance to recover. So went from 190 to now we're back in the underground. So sitting at 181, that group pretty much stayed together. Actually, I think we caught the two in the front. So it's about a group of 10 to 12 we have together now. Still feeling pretty good. This is kind of an interesting feature of this London course. So just this really short climb at 15%, going up the steps to get back out into the city. I made sure to just kind of stand up and give all the power there. I know that's a point where it could be easy to get away, especially if you get 2 or 3 off the front. So that's kind of exactly what happened here. Looking at that mini map on the top right, looks like about 7 of us really put in a dig, and the others kind of got left behind. Unfortunately, we ended up kind of slow pedaling it, so the full group came back together, but just kind of wanted to make sure I put in that effort to stick with the front group. So here we go. Now just a mile left. Still got a little bit of climbing left, but trying to recover as much as possible. We've been pushing pretty hard, but I felt pretty good so far. There was one rider who made a dig, maybe at the 3K mark, kind of up a riser, and just got a lead, and the group hasn't been able to bring him back yet. So he's 8 seconds ahead. I'm kind of starting to feel it at this point. So overall felt good during the race, but heart rate's getting kind of high and not coming down, definitely signaling some fatigue. Legs feel okay, but of course not great at the end of a race. Just getting to this 1 kilometer mark. I did some recon before and looked at the London Loop reverse route and saw there were 230 meters of climbing. So in my head during the race, I'm thinking 1K and still 40 meters of climbing. Like, are we waiting for some kind of big hill to the finish? I wish I knew that it wasn't the full reverse route. So I tried to look ahead of time and know what was coming, but ended up kind of hurting me. So can't really say that affected my strategy too much, but I was just sitting here. I'm wondering, where's the extra elevation coming? It was a little bit of a climb here to the finish, but 700 meters, getting a little bit more stretched out. So the one rider in the front, we have the gap down to 6 seconds, but just kind of getting ready for the final sprint. Not a whole lot I can do there. And then we had 2 more riders go off the front. So I tried to jump in. I tried to kind of pull this group back to those riders, and I just didn't have it in the legs. So I put in a short effort there, realized they just kept getting away from me. So then I decided to dial it back, join back in with this group. That's kind of the front 3 off the front. Realizing this group's not really going to catch them, but jumping back into the draft, still got to do what I can at the finish. And the finish came up pretty quickly. So already 200 meters, I put in a little dig as no one else is going. And then once we get under 200 meters, I just give it everything I have. Legs were feeling pretty good, so I didn't hit crazy high wattage. And it's me and this one rider just coming down to the line. Looks like they were pulling through, had the speed, but I was able to just hold them off. So I ended up getting 4th. It was just those 3 riders off the front, but I was able to win the sprint as I give a thumbs up at the end of the ride. And actually one of those riders was at some crazy like 4 watts per kilogram or something for category C. So I did get the podium. I got 3rd place. I was pretty happy with the effort here, especially with the climbing. I'm kind of an average rider when it comes to climbing. Usually kind of struggle in those races, so felt strong on the rested legs and had a lot of fun with it. So guys, looking forward to this Race Like a Pro series. Hope you enjoyed the first one. We'll be back soon for stage 2, but till then, thanks for watching. This is Cadman Cycling, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.